happy today, and it's probably a happy day for most of us in the cryptoverse. Bitcoin has broken over 100K again, and the name of the show is Release the Kraken, right? So it does look like Bitcoin is about to break new all-time highs. Before we get into the show, let's thank our sponsors. Obviously, the team at Quantum Expeditions and Quantum Economics. If you want to get into mining, their last round just ended, but I think that a new round is going to be coming up in a little bit to raise more funds for our operation in West Texas. This is huge for energy, right? I've been saying this for a long time. As Bitcoin miners get bigger, like Mara, like Quantum, they're going to get in the energy business so they can reduce their cost per Bitcoin ratio. And as you get your kilowatt your cost per kilowatt down, then you can generate more Bitcoin. And more companies are doing this. As you can see in the picture, we've been doing methane flare, which is a way to take the wasted flare, generate more energy, and earn more Bitcoin. Mara, has used their wind farm. They just leased a huge wind farm, and I'm pretty sure it's T. Boone Pickens wind farm in West Texas. If you've ever driven across Texas, I have like 3 or 4 times. It's a big effing state, no crap. But once you get to West Texas, there's wind farm everywhere, and they're usually always generating energy because that section of West Texas is like barren and it's just windy and dusty. Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent. Check Quantum Expeditions out. Shield Folio is our other one. And that should be coming up in a second. And check them out. That is a good way to protect your seed phrases and not have prying eyes know what those words are. And there should be a QR code coming up for that. And also, I want to thank Deorganized Media and obviously everyone on the Bitcoin Live family. Thank you so much for being a part of the team. And let's get into it. So the first thing I want to do is let's pull up, I think I have a chart, BTC chart right here, and let's just pull it up. I just gotta get my share screen button, which I did not have ready, pardon me. Voila, and it would be the second trading view. Let's see. Yes, here it is. I got it. And let's take a look. So you can see right on this chart, literally, we have this. And again, I should click over to the trading view here. So you can see there's this massive bull flag forming here. If we zoom out, this is only a 5-minute chart. Let's look at let's look at a 1-week chart. So okay, that was bad. But again, this is a weekly chart. The same thing, right? We have this huge, massive bull flag forming. And if we zoom out again, like where did it go? All right, I lost it. But the whole point is it does look like Bitcoin's going higher. Let's go over to the Bitcoin hash rate chart. Boom. And as you can see, my theory from just the last couple of shows where we've been talking about, why is this important to Bitcoin? Obviously, we've only brushed over this a few times. Bitcoin's hash rate is its power usage, right? And how many calculations it's doing per second to find a block, right? And right now it's like literally 1/6 trillion calculations per second. So it means the network's very, very secure. It'd be very, very hard to attack it from an energy standpoint. The only kinds of attacks that we've been seeing over the last 6 months are obviously the bears, and using financial tools from all of these, binary options platforms where you can short Bitcoin to, even the big players. I'm sure even BlackRock had some shorts on the big markets. It's very possible. I haven't looked into that, but I did pull up CoinGlass's info from the last 24 hours, and let's share that information right now. And as you can say, I was just in a space and someone was saying it was way higher, but here is that. Let's go to that tab. And as you can see, in the last 24 hours, close to it looks like almost $600 million, 570, almost $8 million has been liquidated, and it looks like Binance did okay. Obviously, if you heard the other day, CZ was like, "Oh no, Bitcoin's going to like 500 to a million this cycle," and I was like, "Thank you, CZ." There's all the smart people saying what Samson Mao, myself, and others have been saying, which is, if Bitcoin jumps just from 80,000, if it does a 10x, it's going to like 800K, right? Like this is basic math 101, and Bitcoin's done 10x, 20x easily in these halving cycles. So literally we're at 100 right now. If Bitcoin does a 10x, it's going to a million. I don't think we're going to hit a million this cycle. I think it's going to be like right below it because it's just a psychological thing. Kind of like 100K had a lot of resistance for more years than everyone wanted, and I think it gets really close. Maybe it does break over and come right back down, but I just think it's just going to get to like 800 to like 900, and there's just too many sellers at those numbers, right? Like if you were a holder from 2012, right, and you have like 10,000 Bitcoin, it's going to be very hard for even these people who are staunch, serious purple wave hodlers, right? They're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's almost a million. Sell 20, right? Sell 50, sell 100, whatever. They're going to sell some. And they're not going to be the only ones, right? We're going to, at that point, see many people in the ETFs, many of the institutional at those numbers. It's just a no-brainer. Your money is well over 10x at this point. If those people are buying ETFs when Bitcoin was at 35 to 55K, and it's at a million, and you have many shares of this ETF that have ballooned, you're going to sell, right? So, but yes, it is clear as day that this massive bull flag, which I just showed on the chart, is forming on Bitcoin as Bitcoin is broken through resistance and has gotten back into 6 digits. This is very crucial. But going back to the hash rate chart, as you can see, we're in the Zeta zone, right? I mean, it might come back into the exahashes again a few more times, but Bitcoin's about to get clearly, up in this range. Up, like, my newest prediction, it's going to do like go past 1 point. I think it's 1.15. If we look at the bottom of the page, this is the all-time 1.1 to almost 5. I think we're going to go to 1.2 zettahash in the next couple of months, right? And that just means more power for the network, and that means more security for all the people that use the network. And this is a good thing, right? And clearly, as Bitcoin is going the way we wanted to, and again, over $575 million liquidated in shorts, and we're starting to see Bitcoin's reaction. That's what happens. Again, I warned the bears, right? If you follow me on X, it's at GER313. I think it's right there on the screen. I posted up a tweet this week, right? Let's go to my Twitter feed and share some of that because I have some great bookmark stuff for today's show. First thing is, let's give a nice happy birthday to Max Kaiser. Obviously, this was a while back because it's January 23rd. But he's very happy that he, indoctrinated a lot of people at Bitcoin when it was at $1. But look at his hat, right? That's why I saved this tweet. He thinks Bitcoin's going to 2.2 million. I think it's possible it goes to 1.2 is the high end. Low end is like 500, maybe less, because a lot of people are going to start shorting it when it hits these really high numbers. So it all depends on when these huge massive green candles happen. Are the bears going to take a break and just let it run, or are they going to try and push it back down to get cheaper corn? I think they're going to let it run. It's a no-brainer to me. If it gets anywhere near 110K, I think obviously it's going to bounce a few times. But once it breaks through that 109 and some change, I think we're going to see some sparks fly, possibly this week, possibly next week. Let's go back and check out some other info. Oh, yeah, big story of the day was this one. And this is, big time news. Obviously the big news of the week was New Hampshire has passed their Bitcoin strategic reserve bill. And then just last night, the Arizona governor passed their secondary Bitcoin bill, which is not as cool as New Hampshire's, because New Hampshire's allows them to actually directly invest in a Bitcoin from their treasury. This Arizona bill is a budget neutral one, but I'm cool with budget neutral bills because it shows, if obviously they can see some, but they can also start, finding energy projects that are being wasted energy and start capturing that energy and converting it into Bitcoin. The revolution is here. TEPCO is going to set the standard, and Mara and all these other companies that are starting to expand into cheaper energy sources that provide cheaper Bitcoin price to cost ratio. Again, this is where everything is heading. The next 10 or 20 years, these big companies, they're still going to be defense contractors, but a lot of money is going to be going into how we find the cheapest energy to generate the cheapest Bitcoin, right? And here's the news right behind that on the heels of New Hampshire, and then last night, Arizona, and then boom, Texas just passed their strategic Bitcoin reserve out of the House committee, now headed for a final floor vote. It's going to pass. And when it hits Governor Abbott's desk, trust me, he's going to put pen to paper real fast because they've been fans of Bitcoin for years now, right? Let's not forget, I think it's, I think it's Fort Worth. Yes, Fort Worth. Wow. Brain's working overtime. I want to double check right now. Correct. So Fort Worth was like the first town to start mining Bitcoin. I think, let's see, where is it? In 2022. Yeah, there we go. And, after that, and we had obviously the great China Bitcoin mining migration happen in the summer of 2021. This next summer, a lot of those miners, right, were coming to Texas, right, moving to Brazil, moving to El Salvador, moving to, Johannesburg, South Africa, and they're all of those billionaires, right? And this is what when I warned China about this, right, that you have literally at that moment, China lost like dozens and dozens and dozens of billionaires who took their mining operations and went elsewhere. And every spot these miners have showed up, right? What has happened? Those economies go boom. They start to go boom, boom. And now the same thing is happening, right? Fort Worth has been mining Bitcoin for 3 years now. And now, like I said, here's Texas pushing through their bill, and the governor is going to go, it's law. And now we have 3 states down, and right, that's 3 states in less than what, 72 hours, y'all? Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention, America? Wake up, right? One of the things we're going to do today, which we've never done before, is we're actually going to go to one of my articles, and I wrote this article in 2020, right? And we're going to listen to this article on Medium. So here we go.
Almost every year consistently, and settle transactions in real time, puts it in a class above all else. Its title as digital gold is akin to calling a supernova a spark. I worked for AT&T for a few years. I love technology. Working in the telecommunications business taught me a lot. The 2 main things that I learned while working at AT&T was that 1, most Americans are not tech savvy, and 2, that these older databases and legacy systems were starting to distance themselves from the newer layers of the internet and the mobile web. These gaps create issues for interoperability and security. What average Americans do is that many problems start to bubble up when this occurs, and I will give several examples. 1. All this centralization of data creates what are termed honeypots. This can make it easy to steal large amounts of data or stop access to this information. 2. Creates huge attack vectors for hackers, data miners, social engineers, and internet scammers. Thirdly, a end-unit system can have multiple IP addresses coming into it. Centralized systems eventually go down. Decentralizing them combats this. For example, a IBM POS terminal from the early 2000s could have 1 IP for the main register, 1 for the POS sled, 1 for price control DB, and 1 for customer loyalty. If one or all of this systems goes offline, it makes it virtually impossible to conduct business. As the old system's firmware and software stays in the past, the newer hardware, firmware, and software is constantly updated and pushing it continuously towards the future, creating what I term as the valley of death. Eventually, these gaps start to create more issues and can even affect the code, and then things start to get real interesting. Blockchain is the technological bridge that crosses over all of these new perils and adds security and trust. Cryptocurrencies are the vehicle that use the new bridge to have secure, real-time settlements based on mathematics and code. Canonical hashes allow money to be exchanged with the ultimate precision. This allows cryptocurrencies the ability to change hands to the 32nd decimal point and beyond. This creates a level of exactitude that is only mirrored in atomic clocks. This precision creates less waste in the ecosystem and bigger returns. For the consumer, this means real savings and also bigger returns. These features are just the beginning and make cryptocurrencies far superior to digital currencies, digital transaction, and especially the original SWIFT system, which was hacked for $81 million in 15 minutes back in 2016. When the banks start to discover that having fully collateralized loans allows the lender to potentially give back returns of 20 to 40, which traditional lending institutions have not done for many years, and in most cases only if you were a large depositor. Once these lenders see that it minimizes risk and creates much larger returns, it is only a matter of time as they adopt these new technologies. Eventually, they will adapt to public chains and protocols, because these will remain decentralized, censorship-resistant, and truly secure. Even though these problems in the developed nations have just started to get worse in the last few years, it is something corporate America does not understand or see the need to correct at the moment. Emerging markets need these new currencies. As EM currencies fail like Venezuela, Iran, and Turkey due to over-manipulation from the central banks, emerging markets will push adoption as paper money continually fails time and time again. One of my favorite quotes from Voltaire: paper money always returns to its intrinsic value, nothing. As more systems start to fail, it will become apparent that blockchain and cryptocurrencies will not be our savior, they are only hope. Reply forward.
So there you have it. I mean, clearly spot on, and that's where we are right now in the world, right? We've got an administration that is pro Bitcoin and pro crypto, and we're heading in the right direction, right? America is, the Secretary of Treasury said this the other day, we want to be the innovators and create an environment that brings these businesses to America, not pushes them away, which was the last almost 4+ years, right? And this is huge, right? The news gets bigger, right? Coinbase has a huge acquisition today. They bought Deribit. Let me see if I can just pull up that. I'm sure it's like right there. And there it is. Yeah, it's their own article. I love that. But yeah, Coinbase acquired Deribit, becoming the most comprehensive global crypto derivatives platform. So hint, hint, crypto's not going anywhere, right? This is a major acquisition by Coinbase to let you know they're going to expand into, derivatives and options in the cryptoverse because they understand. If you look how much volume, you know what? Let's just pull that up. Let's see if we can find that out. Binance does. Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's like around 50, like 40 to 50 during a bear market, but here it is. So reports a daily volume of 76 billion daily. So Coinbase gets it. They don't want to miss out on all of that money floating around. Binance and Deribit and Bybit and BitMEX and all these exchanges bring in tons of cash. Now, obviously, Binance is the biggest one on the block, and you can see they're pulling in close to 100 billion during bullish times daily, and like I said, on the lower end, probably like 30 to 40 billion. People are trading. People are betting on Bitcoin futures, Bitcoin options, binary options, and then they expand into other tokens, right? I was just talking to Madi in the spaces before this, Greenspan, and he was sharing that he's been doing leverage trading with Doge, right? So Doge perpetuals, and I tell people, when people ask me about investing, if you want to gamble, just remember it's gambling. When you win big. When you lose, and it's gone, right? Poof. One of the best stories, probably a couple of years ago, like 2022 or maybe it's 2021. KuCoin gave me I think it was like $10 worth of tether, and I don't know if I longed it or shorted it. I forget what I did, but I got it like close to a G, and then poof, gone. Yeah. That's why you got to be careful. I should have just taken the tether and ran, right? And that's another thing. Let me pull up that if I can find that information, how much tether was printed in the last week. Like anytime Tether is minting mad amounts of Tether, yeah, Bitcoin's gonna run, right? These are facts, y'all. Oh wow, I did not know this. So it looks like, oh, that was a while back. There it is. Holy moly. It's just not 1 billion. It's 8 billion. So is a major crypto rally brewing? Yes, yes. Then somebody's Tether just minted almost 10 billion worth of Tether. Holy moly. And don't be surprised if we start seeing that more. We start seeing those articles more and more. Because if everything's starting to run, we're going to see the stable coin market grow. These are just facts. And I still believe in denominated stable coins. I don't know how many times I've said this. I think I've been saying this now for like 4 years, maybe 5 or 6. There should be denominated stable coins so that the bandwidth of those big, obviously if you're a bank, a crypto bank, and you're moving, or a crypto exchange, and you're moving like huge amounts of Tether, it reduces your bandwidth. If there's like $100 stable coin versus 1 million Tethers, obviously, it would be a quicker turnaround, especially on networks like Ethereum or any networks that, gas fees become problematic as, the underlying asset price skyrockets. Because people seem to forget, Ethereum's around 2K to 3K, gas fees are pretty cool. If Ethereum goes to like 4 to 8K on this bull run, yeah, gas fees are again. Now, it shouldn't be super drastic, hopefully, but they're going to go up. Let's just be clear. But if you didn't hear in that article, my thesis back then is still a solid thesis today, right? Is that the public blockchains stay the most active because they are public, they are truly decentralized, and they are the most then censorship resistant, right? Bitcoin obviously being the most, and then probably Litecoin is like number 2. But Dogecoin is decentralized, right? Even though, it's a pain in the butt to sometimes run a Dogecoin node, the more modern ASICs, like the L9s, I think is it L10s are coming out for Doge and Litecoin. Double check my math on that, the mining community. But it's still decentralized public blockchain, right? And that's what I tell people. I mean, I'm even wearing, a Doge shirt. Let's be clear. So that sentiment 5 years ago when I wrote that article is playing out right before our eyes. And even though I still have some Ethereum tokens out there, I don't think much Ethereum anymore, like just enough in those wallets to move stuff around. It's problematic, right? It's just so problematic when we get into those scenarios, right? Like when the NFT boom was happening and, Ethereum was shooting high sky, it was like, okay, I wanted to mint one NFT and they're like, yeah, the gas fees are $120. You're like, cool. And yeah, I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I'm testing stuff out, right? I'm a pioneer. Yeah, no. And again, why it becomes problematic is because there's lots of you know, projects on Ethereum that can block you, right? Can block your wallet, can blacklist your wallet, and then yeah, not very censorship resistant, right? Most of the databases for Ethereum run on AWS and other servers. The same thing is true for Solana, right? Even though I'm big into Solana meme coins, these are just facts, right? So all of that money, it's going to get sucked up by all this crazy stuff. It's eventually going to find its way to Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, anything that's public and proof of work is my new part of that thesis, right? Because proof of work is crucial to the foundation of that protocol. So if it's not incentivized to run a node, then who's going to be running nodes?
What up, yo?
What up, Matty?
We ran long today. It was good. Actually, we ran long, but man,
I'm sure it was a big one because it's a big day. Everything's
yeah. You were talking about, and we kind of got into this a little bit earlier about Ethereum, and you're just mentioning the fees, right? When it comes to stable coins, that's something I kind of want to get a little bit more into. When it comes to like the fees on Ethereum and stable coins versus like other networks, what do you know about that versus, like say Solana and et cetera? I think there's got to be a big discrepancy, right?
Oh yeah. So, I mean, obviously running those stable coins, one of the, bigger networks is obviously Solana that runs a lot of these stable coins. Tron. The bad thing about Tron is if you go to CoinMarketCap, it's the most rehypothecated crypto, more than Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other cryptos out there. Tron is the most rehypothecated, which is pretty messed up when you think about it. And that's like a big red flag for me. If you're a Tron holder, I'm not trying to dish you. These are just metrics and I'm just sharing data. Like, just take it as it is. It's a red flag. Just be aware. That's not good news. But yeah, the other networks, obviously the biggest is, Ethereum runs a lot of these. Back in the day, a lot of them ran on Bitcoin's like side protocol called Omni, the Omni protocol, but not much runs on the Omni protocol anymore. A lot of are starting to go onto I just had a brain fart. The Liquid network, right? So Jade's their wallet, their layer 2. So you can, obviously if you're using Aqua's wallet, there's a lot of people starting to figure that out in El Salvador. I don't have to use the Chivo. I can use this other wallet called the Aqua wallet. Yes, that one's not that great. And these people are starting to, save some in Bitcoin and then put some into, LUSDT so they can do their daily purchases and, have a little bit more stability in the price in their checking account, if you'd say, you know what I mean? So we're going to see the stable market, like, again, just grow and grow by leaps and bounds because, it is an easier way to move dollars. But like I said, I just think we need denominated stable coins. So, if you're moving huge swaths of these around, the bandwidth is smaller. And then obviously, if the fees are high, the transaction will be obviously cost less if there's less, coins in this UTXO. Excellent. But yeah, so again, I think as we were discussing earlier, we're starting to see this big bull pennant form on Bitcoin, and I think it's going to get close to 109 in the next probably few weeks. Hopefully next week would be great. But it's going to touch it a few times. And then once it breaks through that 109 and some change and we hit that new all-time high, I think we're off to the races.
Did you, I know I'm a little bit late, so coming in here, but did you already, we were both in the Monty Greenspan Super Space on Thursdays, and you had a very
Correct.
bold audacious price target there, Mr. Vata. Did you share that here on the Bitcoin Live Network yet with our friends and family, or are you keeping?
Yeah.
Or did you did? Okay.
I did say once it breaks through, that new all-time high, I did say I think it's going to hit 150 to 200K rather quickly, right? It's going to be abrupt, and that's going to scare a lot of people. Not us.
Wait. I think. Hold on a second. I think you said it was going to happen like this week. Didn't you say? Like,
yeah, I said
about an hour or so.
I mean,
it was going to happen this week.
I know, but I was just looking at the chart and I had to revisit that. But the bull flag. I mean, let's put it. Blue wants to say hi.
Blue.
Hi, Blue.
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you, buddy. Let's pull up the chart and we'll get back into it. But you can see here it is right here. Boom. Let me see. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's just pull up a 3-month chart. And we got to zoom out a little. Here, where's the refresh?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just getting refresh. That should fix it. Yeah, reload the site. Correct. That was the whole point of hitting that. But yeah, here we go. I mean, just look at this bull flag that's forming. We're obviously getting into these really big candles for today. Let me see if I can get into. Yeah. So I mean, this is called the cup and handle pattern right here, right? Here's the cup, here's the handle. And I also, even if this pattern even flatlines more and you still get this handle, I call it the extended hand pattern, where it's literally, it just looks like somebody's hand reaching out. And the same thing happens. But this is literally, I mean, this is a really big bull flag right here. Here was the last time. I think the last time we did the show, it was like something like in here. And of course, I'm like looking at my phone keys flashing. I'm getting like all these altcoins are pumping 10%, 15%. But yeah, let's go over to CoinMarketCap because that was another that I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, here it is right here. But if we look at a 1-year chart, this was the line of resistance we were trying to break through, and we just did it. I mean, the market cap has, this is a little lower. I think it was like 140 or 160 billion in volume, and that's just, you know, in like 24 hours. So again, everything's looking good. The fear and greed index is neutral. We're still kind of in a Bitcoin season, but as this black dot approaches the middle of the screen here, we're going to start to see a lot of these altcoins pop. The only problem with, you know, the altcoin market is there is literally now 15.1 million cryptos in the cryptoverse. Holy cannoli. That's a lot of crypto. Here it is right here. There we go. But yeah, 15.1 million tokens and coins that are in the cryptoverse. This is, you know, insane. When I first got into the space, it was in the thousands, and then it got into the 10,000s, and then the 20,000s. And then at one point, the exchanges like went nuts. They went from like maybe 500 to 1,000 exchanges up to like 20,000 exchanges. And then I was like, oh, the exchanges need to like come back down to earth. And that happened. And then when the number of exchanges went from like, literally, I'm not even kidding, like 15 to 20,000 exchanges, came down to like several hundred. I think we're like 800 or something like that. All of a sudden, here comes Pump.Fun and Solana meme coins. Literally over the last 3 months, I think it's like 13 million of them or something. I don't even know. That's the hard part. So where am I going with this? I'm at work yesterday at my new job on the sales floor, and the new, I'm the new guy. But the kid who, unfortunately, he got taken by some scammer like in 2021, was like, comes in, walks right up to it. Me and the other sales guys, like, I just went full degen into some meme coins. I was like, uh-oh, here comes alt season, y'all. And I shared that with my friend, literally within like 10 minutes of him telling me that. I shared that with my friend in Philadelphia who's been in the space since like 2017 or 2018. And she was like, oh, yeah, my boss just said he bought some crypto, too. And he's a doctor who has like been like, no to this stuff for years. And she's like, yeah, he just bought some, I think, Solana or something. And I was like, here it comes. So get ready, y'all.
Retail's coming, huh? The retail's coming eventually. I think it's a big thing, though, getting over the $100,000. That's the big psychological mark. You know what I mean? And then when you factor in, the potential of these trade deals of what we saw today with the UK and the US, and then apparently, Scott Bessent came out the other day, says that he's got himself a little powwow happening this weekend in Switzerland. Whilst he was going to be there, just so happened Chinese officials were going to be in Switzerland as well. So he can go have himself a little sit down and talk with the folks from China about a trade deal possibly. So, by the end of the summer, if we have some trade deals in line, tariffs are not a factor. Man, we could be looking at some serious blue sky.
Oh, yeah. I think we're also starting to see the effects of the money printer. So let me pull up another tab. But
he ain't printing yet, man. Here's the thing.
Yes.
You know what? He's either Powell's going to have to be forced, or we're not going to get any printing until he leaves in 2026.
No, but they just bought $20 billion worth of bonds, and it was the biggest bond purchase from the Fed. Bonds. James Bond. Since I think 2021. I'm pulling that up right now. Let me see if I can find the article.
Meanwhile, China's printing and doing everything under the sun.
Yeah, China just cut their rates and printed, and that same friend in Philadelphia who's worried about the Fed not cutting interest rates. I said to her, look, Jerome Powell has to do one of two things, right? He has to either print more money or he has to cut rates, and he can't do neither. I said something will happen, and like I said, they just bought like $20 billion worth of bonds. Just the other day, I'm trying to find it. Treasury announces.
Yeah, I remember seeing someone about that, and I think some folks were kind of thinking that's QE, but it's not really.
It is and it isn't. They are basically. Oh yeah, here it is. It is and it isn't, right? So what they're doing is when they buy securities, anytime they do it, and like I said, I think this is the biggest buyback since 2021. Yeah, you're stabilizing the dollar, right? Because even though it's our debt, we're securing that debt, and we're putting it aside. And again, the Fed usually does a good job of managing their position. They're only 3-year notes, so they obviously are going to mature in a rather short time frame, and the Fed will probably be in the green. I was looking at Bloomberg this morning. I could see a lot of the food futures were coming down. Even some of the hard commodities like gold is coming down off its high horse, platinum, silver. But look at the crypto assets, man. This is why you need to be in this space, because the money is coming to these markets, right? This is what's happening. And again, we're about to see new Bitcoin all-time highs, and as Bitcoin prints its new all-time high, we're going to see all these alts. Like I said, let me just show you, like, look how many notifications from Kraken came up, right? Like, it's like, I think 7 or 8, and Bitcoin hasn't done anything yet, right? It's literally just coiling up and getting ready to do this big move. Let me go back to my bookmarks, because I think I had a few more. Oh yeah, so here is, we didn't get to watch this one yet, so let's hold. Let me pull up this real quick, and there we go.
And the priorities of the administration. And so I can see Bitcoin going up 10x from here to $1 million by 2028. Yeah. Especially if we get a change in sort of the Fed and they come back on side and they do quantitative easing, they start cutting rates. And, as you said, Powell's term ends in May 2026. Everyone believes that Kevin Warsh will be the next Fed governor, and he's gone on record basically saying the Fed is not independent. The Fed should do whatever the president and the politicians want, which means print the money, give more of it to the system to act as stimulus. And so I see an acceleration of money printing and fiscal debasement in May 26 onwards, and that's probably when we get the sort of crazy runs in Bitcoin and other sort of fixed supply assets. Trump is going to spend more money, have a bigger deficit than Biden. It's just math, and the priorities of the administration. And so I can see Bitcoin going up 10x from here to $1 million.
So again, all of the smart people in the room are starting to say the same thing, and now we're back to 100K. Clearly, the sky's the limit, because again, the beach ball has been held under the water for so long. Yeah. How high is it going to go? Like I said, I want it to go to 1.2, but I think the highest it's going to go is like 800, because at that point, there's too many sellers in the pool, and even long-term hodlers at that point, right? Somebody has like 10,000 Bitcoin they've hodled from 2012. They're looking at 800 a Bitcoin, 800K a Bitcoin. Yeah, everyone's starting to lose their mind at that point.
Something to think about, though, when your point about the bonds with the Fed is that maybe they're not doing QE, less just QT, right? Less quantitative tightening. And as those bond holdings mature, they reinvest most of them, apparently, to avoid having the balance sheet go down quickly. So again, there might be a little, I think what's the financial term? Fuckery, I think is Marty Greenspan said, fuckery. Financial term, he learned it at eToro. I think he coined it there. But yeah. So they're reinvesting them to avoid having the balance sheet go down quickly.
Yeah, I think
again,
I think that is, again, it is called, I will go with chicanery, but I liked your term better.
That's not mine. I didn't come up with that. Was Marty Greenspan.
Oh, okay.
He coined that. He coined that term.
Oh, okay. Again, I agree with the term, but that's what the Fed does, right? Their whole, they're keeping inflation to 2%, keeping unemployment to under 5 or 4.5%, whatever their damn target is. To me, it's all chicanery. But again, it's when you're literally the float for the whole world, you have to make sure that the dollar is going to work and is safe, because there's still millions of people outside of the United States, hundreds of millions of people outside of the United States that rely on the dollar to still function. And the fact that now we're starting to see the domino effect of all of these states, from New Hampshire to Arizona, and we're about to see probably Texas in the next few days, everyone's starting to see why this is so important. I
want to be honest about Arizona. Did because we need to really like.
Oh yeah, we did.
Did you cover that?
We did talk about it, but yeah,
you
can
already
bring
covered
it
it.
up
I don't
again.
want to be
bring
redundant.
it up again.
I want to
no, because sometimes people come in late to the show, like yourself, and other people who are new. But yeah, so Arizona is a budget neutral. New Hampshire can literally take from their treasury and invest into Bitcoin. It is a huge difference. But like I was saying earlier in the show, I think Arizona will start getting into those energy projects, right? They start finding these wasted energy. They've got tons of solar, right? They're a sunny ass state. Boom, solar Bitcoin. I'm looking at you, Arizona. Figure it out. It's not that hard. But I think Texas is right around the corner. I think Governor Abbott is going to get the bill, and he's done. And there's 3 states down, and there's only 47 to go. And I would venture by the end of the summer, where there's only 3 states left. That's my guess.
Washington will be one of them. Washington is so inept and so missing the boat on this. I mean, I thought Arizona was bad, but man, Washington lawmakers they suffer. I think
Germany
there's a medical term. It's called rectal cranium disorder, and it's a medical term, and a lot of people suffer from it. And it's true. You can Google it. Rectal cranium disorder.
No, you're correct. It's a very
it happens to people. It does.
But yeah, so the other big story, which I do want to pull up, is this one from today. I don't know if you guys heard, but Missouri is set to become the first state to exempt capital gains on taxes, stocks, crypto, and real estate. So this is a big deal. I hope that they do pass this through, and the governor of Missouri puts pen to paper, because this would be really good news for a lot of people in Missouri. And, St. Louis, I heard it's a great town. You might want to move to St. Louis. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I am right now, but the other underlying news that nobody's really talking about, but I'm always paying attention to stuff, is that Porter was in PDX, right? So he was in Portland just last week. So Satoshi Action Fund was in Portland, which makes me think that they were talking to the governor. Were they in Salem, Oregon? I'm not sure. But Satoshi Action Fund is in the state of Oregon.
Well, let's be honest. They just went to go get voodoo donuts. End of story.
That's it.
Like, we got to get a maple bar with bacon. And that's a Portland joke for people who live outside of the Pacific Northwest. Google it, voodoo donuts.
Yes, Maddie lives only like if there's no traffic, it's only like 3 hours, so it's not that bad. If there's traffic,
might take a week.
Which Seattle's known for traffic. It might take a long time. But yeah, there's Voodoo Donuts and PDX. Seattle's a beautiful town, though. I always tell people go check it out. Just drive into town before the traffic, and if you need any traffic tips, hit up.
Yes, because I do traffic as well. We have a big blocking semi right here, I-5 northbound, jackknife holding up people for the next 3 miles.
Nice.
I just did that off the top of my head. It comes natural.
Dude, he's always prepared. But let's go back to my bookmarks, because I think I might have had like 1 or 2. Let me see here. And so it looks like somebody commented on this post. There is a lot of states that don't have capital gains tax: Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Wyoming, New Hampshire. Always do research, because this is X. But you can always ask Grok that one, or ask Chat GPT, and I'm sure they will give you a solid answer.
I never trust Chat GPT, dude. I had a paid subscription, and I hate Chat GPT. Like there's some great stuff
No,
if you need charts and you need like some data, but I mean, it is just like, it's the worst.
Again, out of all of them, I say she's better than Siri. But the best one that I've come across, I like Grok now, but I think that one we talked about in the last show, this Julius AI, if you're into data science, if you are into Python, Julius AI, like that
it went over my head, Gerald. I tried to check it. I'm like, this is too much for me. I'm like,
I know, I get it. But again, if there's devs in the audience, or if there's anybody who's a data scientist like myself, check out Julius AI. MIT is using it to teach all of their fledgling developers and data scientists because it is amazingly good stuff. But yeah, here's a few more. Like here.
I'll give you two pieces of this. Number one, Bitcoin clearly over the past 15 years of its existence has been the best performing asset class in history, bar none. It is widely expected to continue that track record over the next 10 years. So on an attitude of trying to create wealth long term, crypto makes a lot of sense. Second, most importantly from investment advisors' perspective, Bitcoin's price movements are independent of all other asset classes. The prices don't move in sync with stocks or bonds or real estate or gold or oil or commodities, and that makes it a perfect addition to a diversified portfolio. If you engage in rebalancing, which all investors ought to do periodically, owning Bitcoin helps to lower the risk of the portfolio while improving the returns. A risk-adjusted profile is one of the big claims to fame of adding Bitcoin to a diversified portfolio.
It's really the big claim for adding to anything. I mean, why do I need a new asset class? Okay, I have stocks, I have bonds, I have a nice fund for short-term money. I have a money market fund, and I have a little bit of gold. Why should I add Bitcoin? Your point is diversification.
Because gold is going to
lower
zero.
Volatility.
This is why, bro. And let's go right back into Julius AI, right? So I tried using all these different AI models to build this chart, right? Comparing Bitcoin's price action to gold's price action over the last, I think it was like 9 years or something like that, 9 or 10 years. And Julius AI, it took it several tries. I had to put in all these different parameters. But literally, this is what Bitcoin was doing, and this is what gold did. Even when gold went to its 3,500, gold did this. Bitcoin did this. What do you want to invest in, right? It's really simple. This guy is a boomer who doesn't understand technology, right? We read that article. That was the biggest thing that I gleaned for my years working at AT&T and I worked it for, I think 3 or 4 different telecom companies, is that most Americans are not tech savvy. Here's this guy proving it again, right? Why would I want this? Oh, only because if you bought $100 of it in 2010, you'd be a multi-billionaire. That's why. How about that, bro? Is that a good enough answer for you? But let's go back because there was one other article, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up for the day. Let's go to bookmarks. Oh yeah, this was a big one we didn't get to talk about, so let's just talk about this one. So this was a huge story. Oh yeah, Larry Fink says it's going to 700K too. Of course, now everyone thinks it's going to 1 million because it keeps coming back to life, right? It's like, holy moly, we can't kill it. No, good luck, Larry. I know you've tried many times. But yeah, this was a big story from literally, I want to say 6 or 7 years ago, where the OCC gave clearance to the banks to do this, and within, I want to say, 90 days of the OCC giving clearance and guidance for this, they kind of backpedaled and it all just went away. But the OCC confirms that the banks can start doing crypto custody. This is huge, man.
Yeah, I think it's massive. You know, this is the something that we've been waiting for a long time. Those of us who've been in the space 2013, 2017, those early years, we were there is video though, Nick. Bitcoin Magazine about an hour ago sharing the video from the OCC themselves.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
With
Let's see if you can find that.
With
I didn't
him
even
talking
know.
about it, the OCC regular talking about it. I would share it off my screen,
Nice.
but I'm lazy. And I have it. I've got
No
like
worries.
so many screens. If you saw here, it's like Darth Vader's bathroom. I've got a screen here. I got a big screen here. I got a screen here. I got the handheld, and I just can't figure which one I'm going to pull up. But yes.
No worries.
But to this
man,
point, though, what this does is we really have that guidance now. There it is. Go ahead, hit it, Nick.
Million Americans hold some form of cryptocurrency. This digitalization of financial services is not a trend. It is a transformation. Here at the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, we confirm that national banks and federal savings associations may engage in certain cryptocurrency activities responsibly in order to serve their customers. OCC-regulated banks may provide custody services, including the safekeeping and secure storage of cryptocurrencies and other digital assets, all on behalf of their customers. The banks we supervise also may buy and sell cryptocurrencies they hold in custody at their customers' direction. Additionally, these banks may provide other custody services, including record keeping, tax, or reporting services for their customers. OCC banks may use a sub-custodian to provide the same services, subject to appropriate third-party risk management practices. While a range of cryptocurrency and digital asset activities may be performed by banks and their third parties, I want to be clear that the OCC expects these activities to be conducted in a safe and sound manner and in compliance with applicable law. To learn more, please visit occ.gov.
Boom. Yeah. Well, so here's the good news. That's awesome. The bad news is don't do it. Right? We've been saying this for years that the banks are going to come and they're going to say, yes, give us your Bitcoin, give us your Litecoin, give us your Dogecoin. We'll take it all. And then they're going to leverage trade it just like FTX did and Celsius did. And then they're going to go, oh, we lost all your crypto because we don't know what we're doing. And we really don't know what we're doing. Yeah, we know.
Well, I think the only cover there, Gerald, is it if let's just say Bank of America, et cetera, these guys are doing that. Like, well, just walk through this with me. At least there would be, I think, some cover or guidance from the FDIC. Like that $250,000, that would then be applicable to those assets as well. Unlike Coinbase, Gemini, et cetera, Crypto.com, where the money that you have on that account, it's gone, and you ain't getting, there's no coverage, right? So I think we're going to need to see that FDIC type of banner, that kind of protection extended to that. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of these exchanges probably transform and become more like money transmitter, money, broadcast services, et cetera. Right. So this is all I think the whole economic landscape is shifting right here before our eyes. We're going from the old analog world and the way trade was done for decades to this whole digital paradigm. And we're rewriting the rule book right now. We're seeing that happen with the trade deal with China, because this has been an ongoing defunct trade deal that has not been really good for a long time, right? I mean, it's helped a little bit short term, but it really hasn't been beneficial to the United States,
And and as Nick just showed, and I tweeted the other day as well, JP Morgan sees that, Bitcoin can become the global
Morgan Stanley
reserve asset. Oh, Morgan Stanley, thank you. But again, this is huge, and they're suggesting a huge allocation, right? They're talking like over $1/3 billion. Like again, this is a lot of money, right? Or was that billion?
370 billion.
370 billion. Oh yeah, over a third of $1 trillion they're recommending. That's a lot of money, yo. That's a F ton of money. More money than most of us will ever see ever. And Bitcoin's going to do its thing. We're in full game theory mode. Yeah. We have the states all now trying to be like, who's going to be next? Who's going to be next? Oh, I want to be next. I want to be next, because this is the future. Right? I've said this time and time again. Yep. Fiboswani. Boing. This is the TransUnion Pacific Railway of the 21st century. And as the states all get on board, we're going to build this new energy train solution that's going to bridge the gap for all these energy projects that could never been thought of before. And it's going to pull this off. We already see it doing it, in little energy projects in Congo, and we see it happening in El Salvador. We're going to see it happen in Panama. We're going to see it. We're seeing it happen in Japan, right? So now everyone's starting to vie for that cheaper energy source for the cheaper Bitcoin. But yeah, here's Fiboswani's chart. Good chart. Again, right in that chart alone, look how big that bull flag is right there, right? It's going up. And it always does. It's just, it comes back down too. You just have to realize, once it makes these huge radical moves, just prepare.
Where are we at on price? Just at the moment, just really quick. Are we still above 100?
I haven't looked in a minute. I want to say 101.8.
Yeah, 101. I got 101.1 on CoinMarketCap.
101.1.
Trading
there we
View.
go. So I mean, yeah, it's going to hang around here probably for a little bit, because, I mean, it just went up like, what, 4K, I think? Yeah, 4,043. So got to be patient. Now, here come the bears. You remember the bears, even though they've been losing tons of money, I don't know where they're finding all this tether, but they find more tether and or more corn. And they came out. I don't know if you saw that article. I think you just right before you came into the space, we had that article up here. I'll share it one more time. Look how much tether was minted. 8 million. Wow. Yeah, and that was last week. So again, I think we're going to wrap it there. Thanks to my co-host, Matty Satz. Thanks to our producer, Nick. Thank you, everyone at Bitcoin Live. Thank you to our sponsors, Quantum Expeditions, Quantum Economics, and Shieldfolio, and the Organized Media. Everyone have a great day. Enjoy the ride. Get your helmets and your popcorn ready, because we're going higher. Peace.